Hello, all. I'm once again Kevin Mumphrey, and this is another episode of Talking Business. And today we're talking real estate. Now, here in Middle Tennessee, we're having a bit of a housing boom. They say about 100 people move here a day, which makes buying a home a very competitive endeavor. So, having a good realtor can be quite beneficial. Lucky for me, I actually know one.
Guys, this is Nash. If you're looking to buy or sell, at 615-270-8595. Y para mis amigos en español, llámanos a mí, a Nash y yo al 615-270-8595 si está buscando a comprar o vender.
That's my friend Alma. Originally, she was in the field of social work, but she took that same spirit in defending people and brought it to the field of real estate. And that drive and desire to help others gain a home is what sets her apart from other realtors. And in the ultra-competitive field of real estate, you better set yourself apart. So today, let's talk a little bit about real estate.
Alma, thank you for taking time out to talk to me about real estate today.
Oh, thank you so much. I love doing this.
So now I know you're originally from Chicago. So where did your interest in real estate begin?
So real estate was not in my radar at all whatsoever. I have 11 years of social service background. And so I came in here actually working with Tennessee Oncology as a patient advocate. So I made sure that we could find different types of grants that we can offer to cancer patients. And then one of my best friends from New York, Harry, he came to visit me and was like, "You're too smart, you're too brilliant to not see what's going on in Nashville." So he's like, "You have to get into real estate." And to be honest with you, as much as I love social services, it just doesn't pay well. Anyone that is in social services is underpaid unless you're an executive director, unless you're like someone pretty high up that gets that 200, 150,000 salary, 300,000 salary. Most caseworkers get paid like 40 to 60 caps. And with college debt and credit card debt, it was just kind of like paycheck to paycheck at the time. So I jumped into real estate and oh my.
So when did you start to notice the kind of booming in the Nashville market?
Within 3 months of being in Nashville. So when I first moved before I moved to Nashville, the Chicago me was already like, I need to move. I need to do what my mom did. At 18, she left Puerto Rico. She left all she knew. So I was already like, I need to leave Chicago because this is all I know. So I was thinking Nashville, Colorado. Those were two of my top choices was Nashville, Colorado. I loved the way Nashville smelled. The people were nice. I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I left on a whim. Within a week of coming back from a TV show I was filming in Nashville, I had already gotten my stuff and moved to Nashville. I got a full-time working with Tennessee Oncology. And then I just found a place within a week, and I was living here. And I immediately was like, there were cranes everywhere, like all over Nashville, there were cranes. And I was like, oh my God. And then my best friend was like, yo, for someone who's in slight debt and with your personality, you care after people, this would be great. And at first I was like, I want to sell the $1 million condos. I want to be into luxury. But I realized pretty quickly that this was way deeper than that. It was more about protecting people physically, financially. And that actually made me like it more because it was serious. I mean, and real estate had always kind of scared me, which is why I've thought about it. I think everybody's thought about it, but I think it's just so scary. So much information to freaking learn. But once you get that, it's all fake it till you make it. Once you have enough experience, it becomes secondhand nature. And you're just like, this is incredible. I get to protect people with contracts, be at home inspections, negotiations, appraisals. It's all pretty intense and fun.
So you mentioned all the work that was involved. So how does one actually get licensed to be a realtor?
So first you find what's the best school for real estate. And everybody had talked to me about CLI in Green Hills. Or at least they were in Green Hills when I attended 4.5 years ago. CLI is the best because they've been the longest real estate school. So that says something about their programs, that it's the longest real estate school in existence in Nashville. So I did that and I passed on my first try. Obviously, I must mention I don't have kids and I was working part-time while I went to real estate school. I like to learn. I love school. So for me, it was really cool to just learn because I saw learning as money. So I'm like, okay, if I study from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. every night and go back and review all the chapters we covered in class, all that meant money to me. All I was like, that's money. That's learning. That's learning how to be a boss. And this is the first time I've ever been my own self-employed 100% commission. So that's scary. That was scary as hell for me. My first year I wanted to give up. The brokerage I was at celebrated me as a person, as a Latina. So they love me personally, but they did zero to educate me on how to actually sell. And real estate school is really just how they just teach you how not to get sued. So they actually don't teach you in real estate school how to actually do real estate at all. It teaches you how not to get sued and how to do the right thing versus the wrong thing. So I gotta say, when I changed to my second year, I switched to Gary Ashton. I recommend it for newbies. Yeah, very popular name. I mean, I think the education there was super cool. The mentorship was amazing. I think once you do, but they're known for also being a new agent team. That's not a team where you stay forever, especially if you do really well, because Gary eats up all your commission. He's a nice dude. He's a nice dude. He's never been disrespectful to me. He's been very nice, but he damn well eats half he eats half of your plate. He eats half of your plate.
So that's when you see those billboards, you think like, some of that's my money.
That's my money. That's 100%. You better thank me for them damn billboards, Gary.
And commercials.
And commercials and everything else. Like, oh, this is Gary with his English accent. But no, he's a cool dude. I do recommend it for new agents for sure, because he wants you to use his name. He wants you to build connections. But once you become a baller, once you become, people, real estate is all about referrals. The better you are as a realtor, the more the word spreads. The one thing you have to be careful is that everyone in Nashville is two things: is a realtor or a musician. I think you know this.
I was going to say that, but I'm glad you did.
I think you know this. You're either a musician or a realtor. And so when you have to stand out, you have to stand out 100%. You have to stand out and be the best, because there's just so many of us. Do I think it's too saturated for you to become a realtor or too saturated for you to buy? Absolutely not. There is room. There is room for business. There is room for you to buy a home, because prices in Nashville our home sales prices are increasing, and so are mortgage rates. So if 10 years ago you could buy a home for $120,000, that home is now worth $399,000.
Yikes.
Imagine where we'll be in 3 years, in 5 years, because the influx of people moving in, transplants like myself, they're not stopping. Some people get discouraged and go back home. That's cool. But the influx of people moving to Tennessee is not stopping or slowing down.
So, like, how long was the schooling aspect of it?
It's been so long ago. I want to say it was a month. It could have been 2 months. I can't remember, because at that time, remember, I had just moved here. I was also working nights. I was working nights, but then trying to study some nights that I was off. So it was just a big, I want to say it was like a month, maybe a month and a half max, but I really do want to say it's a month. And I busted my ass studying. Like, I reviewed what we went through class. I wrote notes. I asked questions. I was on it. I just wanted to get out of debt. And sure enough, as soon as I went to the Gary Ashton team, I paid off $30,000 of credit card debt in 1 month.
Yikes. Ooh. Now, when you said time, I was thinking you were going to say like 6 months, a year.
No.
I wasn't expecting a month.
A month.
So once you got finished and you're certified to be a realtor, like, how did you go about, like, I guess, looking for a Gary Ashton?
So first I went to a brokerage has to sponsor you. So once you pass your classes and you get your real estate license, there's a brokerage that has to sponsor you and say, I'm responsible for this person. If you do anything that gets you in trouble, your broker has to be present with you. And so obviously I had a lot of brokerages that wanted me, but I jumped to the first one that called me, and they were in the Gulch, and I'm like, oh snap, they're in the Gulch. They did zero education. So I think, how did I get into Gary Ashton? How did I get into Gary Ashton? I don't remember who was the connection, but I do remember hearing that they are very good at. Oh, I think I called the broker. Oh shoot, I think I called the broker, and sorry, my battery just was like it's dying, and I was like,
Oh no.
I'm getting my charger. But I think it was a broker herself that I was like, hey, I think I told her like my numbers suck, but I promise you, I'm really really good. Like I promise you, I'm good. I promise you, I'm hungry. Like I'm aggressive. And she's like, you know what? I don't know. Something about you tells me to give you a shot. Little did I know they give everybody a shot. At the time, I felt special. But she gave me a shot, and within the first month, I sold 1.2 million.
Woo.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But then check this out. Once I started going crazy with Gary, I noticed that when I could be getting 15,000, I was getting like 3,000 to 6,000. When I could be getting 15,000, when I could be getting 20,000. So now that I had my own business, and it came to the point where I was on the Gary Ashton team and I was just getting all personal business. Like it wasn't even coming from Gary at that point. And I'm just giving Gary 40% of my money. So at that time I was like, we're not doing that. Right now I'm with Realty One Group in Music City in Nashville. That's 100% commission. And that's for everyone, 100% commission. But you have to realize that you're your own boss. So I don't have someone on top of me like, hey, yo, are you waking up at 5 a.m.? Are you sending business? No, you're your own boss. The most important thing is learning how to be your own boss, having the right schedule. It took me a whole year to follow the actual schedule I freaking made. It took me a year to follow the schedule that I had made for myself. Because in the beginning, it's all about juggling. You just want to get those deals under contract. You just want to get that money. But then once you get that money, you also have to be valuable. And you have to tell people, look, I am really good at what I do. And you're just going to have to like go by my schedule.
Okay. So we'll talk about the first house you sold. So like, were you
Oh my
remember
God.
being nervous?
Whoa, did I fake it till I make it? Oh my God.
Yes, please elaborate.
I remember one time he was like, hey, you just told me that our contract ended. He's like, hey, you just gave me a document that says our contract ended yesterday. And I'm like, I did. And so I was like, shit, where did I go wrong? And I was supposed to say our contract ends a year from now. Instead, I said our contract already ended. I don't work with you.
Oh.
And it was a $700,000 home in Nolensville.
So I guess you technically accidentally gave your resignation.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually gave my power away, but we fixed it. He signed it. I think he knew I was fresh. I think he was like, whatever, I like you. Just get this going, But then after the first deal, oh man, I acted like I was the boss. After my first deal, I acted like I was the best in the world because it really is all about experience. And the most educational part was attending all home inspections. Attending all home inspections was it's just so eye-opening, and you learn so much. I did go to the hospital because I was so stupid. I would make these videos saying, oh, does your realtor go into crawl spaces? I do. And then I got a mold allergy reaction from diving into crawl spaces, and I was hospitalized.
I mean, I feel like you could have used that as great marketing too.
Yeah, when you're to get hospitalized for you, I would. So I got some type of mold infection allergy reaction from just diving into crawl spaces. But honestly, I've been in this for 4.5 years, almost. I think it's maybe even 5. I still feel new because now everything in Nashville is changing. I used to get 4 homes under contract a month. Now I do, I'll be honest, 0 to 2 homes a month because inventory has dropped. Does that discourage me? No, because what comes up must come down, and there's always business. There's always business. If I close 8 deals right now, I'll still make 100,000. And my numbers are usually 24 to 32 when there's good inventory. So even if I close 8 deals, I will still make 100 because there's always business. I think as a realtor, you really have to save your money. I used to suck at that because I used to get money and then I'll be like, I'm going to Puerto Rico. And then everybody in my Instagram was like, oh, she's in Puerto Rico. Or like now I have a tendency of like making money and then be like, I'm getting a new tattoo. And it's like, Alma, you did your whole back. What are you gonna do? Like relax. Tattoos aren't cheap. But now I like it. I think once you join real estate, once you do start it, I think it becomes a part of you. It's like Monopoly. You can either pay rent or you can buy the properties and then collect that money. That's how I see Monopoly. I see real estate as a Monopoly game. You can keep paying rent every time you go, or you can collect the rent if you bought the property.
Now, because usually with certain majors, you learn more on the field than you do necessarily in class. So percentage wise, how much would you say you've learned doing real estate as far as like going to school and learning about it?
I had a really, really, really good teacher. I would say ethically and business wise, I would say 30% was from class.
Okay.
That's a big difference. That means 70% is on the field.
I'm starting to feel like there's a lot of fields at this point.
Yeah. 70% is on the field with real estate. And remember, it's not about the brokerage either. It's about who are your mentors, what educational systems they have. For me, real estate brokerages are about lead generation. Are you going to give me clients, and are you going to educate me on the newest advances, on the newest innovative CRMs, client relationship management? What are you going to do for me? That's but I have a friend who has been in real estate for 2 years, and he hasn't had much success. And me and my girlfriend have been trying to tell him it's not the brokerage, it's the person. You have to constantly educate yourself to stand out from the rest. And he's such a cultured dude, like super cultured, worldly guy. And he does great with everyone. But a lot of times it's just about mentorship and education in real estate. It's a lot to learn. The contracts itself, I used to be so fearful of them, fearful. And now I can type a beautiful contract in 15 minutes. And I can type it in 5. But the only reason it takes me 15 is because I have OCD and I want to make sure everything looks peachy keen. Like
looking over and over.
Yes, just looking it over and making sure they're protected 100%.
So now you mentioned the contract. Do realtors normally type the contracts?
Yes. Yeah, so buyer agents are supposed to be free, 100% free to the client. If you are buying property, realtors are free. There may be a transaction fee depending. There's almost usually a transaction fee, but it differs from brokerage to brokerage. But they're free to buyers. Now, as far as the seller, the realtor will give you what percentage they would expect from you on their side and on the buyer's agent. So when a realtor is free, it's because the seller is paying for both the listing agent who put the house on the market, and he's also paying for the buyer's agent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of sellers don't get too happy. The sellers will be like, "Yeah, I'll give you this percentage. Yeah, I'll give this percentage." And then I've had clients at closing go, "You made how much money?" And I'm like, whoa. I ran this with you like 10 times. You knew how much that agent was gonna make. You knew how much I was gonna make. I mean, you could have put the house on the market if you wanted to, but I guarantee you, I give you like $50,000 to $100,000 more. Yeah, I cost. Yeah, you can put the house on the market yourself, but using a realtor, it's going to turn into a multiple offer. I don't know if you noticed, but whenever a good house hits the market, it almost turns into a freaking auction. It goes over. It goes over. They receive 30. Well, a year and a half ago, it was like 15 offers over. Now it's 30 offers.
30.
That's the norm now.
Now, and how over asking price, is that normal too? That usually go how far over asking price normally?
I've seen things from, in this industry, 100,000 over, 30,000 over has been 20 to 30 has been the norm for me lately. But if I contact a friend who is also a realtor who I know has a property coming on the market, or if I find an off-market property, that's where you can get your client the property for list price. I have had clients get the house for list price recently. I have. It's very far and few. I would say it's 30% of the deals I'm making this year are going to be like that, where I'm finding them off market, or I'm talking to a friend saying, "Hey, if you have any listings coming soon, run it by me first." And that's part of, you got to be constantly proactive as a realtor. You can't just stay still and be like, "Well, I'm going to have I'm going to have all these deals land on my lap. No, mamita. No. You've got to be very proactive. You've got to be on the ball. I'm talking to everyone. Do you have anything in Murfreesboro, Antioch, Smyrna? Do you have this? And then we start emailing, hey, I do have a property. Great. Hold on. So let me get my client. And before it hits the market, I'll beg them. Can I please show it to them? We can give you in a contract. We'll give you 30 over. And it's just like, even before it goes on the market, we can try to get it under contract.
Now, sounds like you're very much on the go all the time. So how do you navigate like time for yourself, like time management? So how do you navigate that?
So I will say that I work probably 2 times more than I did when there was more inventory. I now feel like a realtor / Uber driver because there are such few houses compared to when I first started. There was houses galore. There was like houses for every client. I had like 12 houses they can choose from. And now for every client, I have like 2 properties to 0 properties that they can choose from. So I will say I feel like I'm working twice as hard. But I still stand firmly in where I try to keep my weekends limited. It's kind of hard to keep some of my Saturdays and Sundays because you got to be realistic. I would rather make 20,000 than watch a Netflix movie. So with low inventory,
good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you have to realize that with this market, you just got to be a little bit smarter and be more available. Now, I have some realtors who are like, I refuse to work Saturday, Sunday, and that's fine. But then your client becomes my client.
And you get the 20,000.
And then I get the 20,000 and you get zip zero nada because they didn't sign a contract with you. Those clients didn't sign a contract with you. They signed one with me because I showed them the house first.
Now, I wanted to get to the money management aspect of because your job, it's ebb and flow, up and down. You're not getting a consistent check. So how did you kind of learn to like manage your money?
How did I learn to manage my money? Man, I think I had to drop when I saw that money drop because in real estate, this is how it is. You can have anywhere from 30,000 to 50,000 in your bank account to 5,000 real quick. Because look, we got expenses. I still pay a mortgage in Chicago. I just got a new car. I got T-boned 2 weeks ago in East Nashville, so then I had to put down money for a new car. Now, guaranteed, I have the best car insurance ever, and they gave me a nice check for the old one that got totaled because it was paid off. But I still, it's like when bad things happen, like they come in threes. And so it's like, oh, I now have to put money that was going towards my second house is now going to a new car. Okay. Like, all right. That wasn't part of the plan. I'm really, really happy with my Jeep. Wasn't part of the plan. So it's like, I think when your money's so low, you go, I don't like how this feels. And I'm also paying for health insurance. And I'm one of the lucky ones who's a realtor who actually has health insurance. I know a lot of realtors who are just like, I just can't afford it right now, or it's not a good decision right now. But I mean, you have to remember, accidents aren't planned. Anything can happen to you any day. And then that's a $7,000 hospital bill. So I guess my best advice would be, and I was just talking about this to a friend today. You can be like, oh, I've got 10,000 coming, or I've got 10,000 coming. Those 2 deals fall apart, you're making 0. So I'm always on the go. I'm always thinking, I've got 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 20, 20, 10, 10, 10. You constantly got to be on the move. I guess my best advice to a realtor is don't ever think that closing is guaranteed, because the day of closing, it's not going to close because there was a tax discrepancy. There was a employment discrepancy, and the deal does not happen. So from $15,000, you get 0 zip nada. And we don't care that you signed them up, showed them the house, did the home inspections. They don't care. You just will not get paid.
So like how many ways that a deal could kind of fall through for you?
I will say 100% never rely on a deal. Because the bank could be telling you everything looks great. And it's happened to me twice. Both clients, actually 1, 2, 3, it's happened to me 3 times. And it's the bank's fault because they're like, everything's great. I don't know why they feel so scared to just be like, we're having a problem. One was because there was a tax discrepancy that was found out by the lender, the bank, day of closing, which I was furious because I'm like, you had 30 freaking days to find out about this tax discrepancy, and you found out on the day of closing. I had another one that the appraiser, we were on time on everything, but the appraiser, instead of going to the property, decided to go to freaking Miami. And because he went to Miami instead of the appraisal, the seller would not extend the closing, and they lost a lot of money, and they had everything in boxes, and they were going to start I think she was already knocked up. And she was bawling her eyes out, and I couldn't help but crying because my client was bawling. I think the third time was an investor. He was an ITIN, meaning he didn't have a social security, so they had to go off of his tax ID. The bank is like, everything's great. Day of closing. Oh my God, our investor backed out.
Oh,
dude, that burns. That burns like hell. Don't ever. So as a realtor, save your damn money. Save your money. And 2, act like a closing is never guaranteed.
So when like these situations where like the bank or lender, you pretty much have to start back from like square one as far as finding a house?
At that point, the client won't probably want to work with you. At that point, they won't either want to work with the bank or work with you. Out of those 3 deals, one of them went off to go get his own deal off the market, which I think was a very bad idea because he won't have protection legally. He won't have legal protection. The other one, we became such good friends with me. He became like family. He's still my client. The third one, they ended up getting so frustrated. They demanded I show them 6 homes every day. And I didn't, that's just unrealistic. And I told them, I'm sorry, but you're not my only client. Like, I understand the market is frustrating. You will nab a house. I will protect you. I am the best agent, but I cannot give you, that's 4 hours every single day for one client when I have 12 active clients.
Okay, 12.
I have 12 active clients at a time, every time. And that's a lot. The norm is usually 8 to 10. So I tell my clients, look, you will find a home. You're going to find a home. You're going to have to be patient. And I always tell my clients, do not fall in love with, don't take it personal. If you don't win, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Just have fun. Let me be the one arguing and fighting and getting dirty. You have fun. But what happens? They go, oh, yeah, no, we've been through this. Yeah, no, I'm not going to fall in love. And then they go, that was my house. That was the house for me. That was the house for me. And I'm like, yeah, you told me you weren't going to fall in love. I told you not to fall in love. Now, these specific clients I've gotten under contract, and they're very happy with their homes. They're very happy, but they had to be patient because I don't know if you've seen the news in Nashville, but there have been several news articles and new interviews that per each buyer, they've sent at least 6 to 12 offers per buyer. Now, do I think now is the time? Yes. Go. Don't let that discourage you. Don't be stupid. This is real estate. This is a money's game. This is all monies. You get a damn home under contract, any home under contract, that's your money. I'd rather waste, the 60 days losing out on offers, but getting a home under contract than losing out $50,000 paying someone else's mortgage.
Oh yeah, because rent is going up.
Or okay, maybe like 20 to 30,000. All right, let's be more realistic. 20 to 30,000. I'd rather play this game of winning and losing, or losing and winning than having to pay someone else's mortgage. Now is the time. You're going to be screwed if you wait 2-3 years from now. Homes are just going to keep getting higher. At least now, try to find someone. Go by reviews. If you see a realtor you like, read their reviews. If you see a broker, don't go by the brokerage. I would go by the realtor's reviews. See what people say about them, because that's how I buy anything on Amazon, furniture. I read reviews. Who's going to be the best?
Now, what necessarily would you like these reviews? Would they be like on Yelp, or they're like a certain spot?
Facebook, Instagram. See what they're doing. Talking about Facebook and Instagram. Look at their Facebook pages. Look at their Zillow pages. I have a crap load of clients who reach me off of Zillow just because it says I'm bilingual.
So being bilingual actually helps you being a realtor.
100%. It probably gives you a good at least 50% more business. Oh yeah, Being bilingual would definitely people from all over the world will call you. Like, hey, I had at least 8 people call me and say, hey, I found your profile on Zillow. You're bilingual. My clients coming from California. They're coming from New York. They're coming from Miami. And then I just like started helping them right off the bat. I will say, yeah, you either have the cash for it or you got a loan. So I will, and it's okay if you don't know. Like, I think the reason why my clients love me so much, and most of them are all my friends, is just that I educate them. Some people don't have a clue where to start, and I have to educate them and talk to them like from the, because here's the stupidest thing, Kevin. They don't talk about this in high school. They teach us calculus, but they don't teach us how to buy a house.
They don't really teach us hardly anything about money.
Or taxes. They don't teach you about your taxes. No. They don't teach you about how to buy a house. Y'all need to stop teaching us trigonometry squared and teach us about real estate and taxes, damn it. Because I'm meeting a lot of people, or even people who have bought 3 homes. And I'm like, did you know you could do this and this could change that? And they're like, whoa, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah.
Because you either learn that from someone else or the IRS sends you a letter like, oh, I guess they didn't tell you about this.
Yeah, exactly.
And you definitely don't want to learn from the IRS. Now, you have multiple people that you're finding a house for now. So how do you navigate time between all your clients?
You're talking to a workaholic. I'm not the best one to talk to about that. You're talking to a workaholic. A workaholic who's trying to get knocked up too. Okay, who's trying to get knocked up. I just from 5:30 a.m. I make my boo some breakfast, and then I'm on my laptop. Sometimes I work till 3:30. Sometimes I work till 8 o'clock. But I will say this: something that real estate provides for me is freedom. So if I ever needed 3 days off, or I need to go to Chicago, be there with family, or if I need to take 3 hours off, or if I need to take 2 days off to find a new car, real estate gives me that freedom. So, you know.
Okay, so because from one workaholic to another. So let me ask you this. So when you're taking, maybe you say, oh, I'm going to take a little 3-day weekend. You go out to Chicago, Puerto Rico, wherever. Do you like have to put your phone, like almost have to throw your phone away or like leave your computer?
I have 2 phones. I have a personal and a business phone. Yeah, I've got 2. Of course I do. And people always ask, why do you have 2 phones? I'm like, well, this is my Colombian drug business that I have. This is that phone like the narcos call me on. And they're like, for real? I was like, no, I'm kidding. But like one of them is, and now the business one, I'll automate it. So it's like, hey, I'm unavailable for 3 days. If this is an emergency, call my assistant. And I'll have an assistant phone number, or I have a business associate who's jumping on the showings for me, and I'm paying them off of all that. So it's like, then the needy clients, I tell them like, I will be limited access. I will check in with you every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll check in with you twice a day. Don't blow my phone up. I'm gonna be with family. I'm dealing with something. You will have clients that think they own you. Out of my whole entire business, I've only fired, and you're going to have to fire. I feel so refreshing when you fire clients. I've only fired, I want to say that I can think of is 1 in 5 years, which is really good. But I'm pretty sure there were 2 clients that I fired. Yeah, there were 2 clients. And one of them was just, so he was just nasty. The way he spoke about women was just awful. I just didn't like the way he spoke down to me because I was a woman. And he was like, I'm teaching you. And I was like, oh, excuse me, I'm your realtor. Teaching me? No, honey. I'm like, this is a mutual, respectful relationship, business relationship. And he would just he spoke to me very ugly. And I just said, you know what? And he would tell me all the time, like, you know, sorry, I was at church. Oh, and I'm married. Don't think that, you know, I'm a coming on. Why do you have to make such inappropriate comments, dude? I'm trying to sell you a freaking house. Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. I just got rid of him. He was just a weird ball. I just got rid of him.
And I don't think people really even think about, like, yes, the realtor can actually fire the client.
Oh, yeah. And it feels so good when you do it. It feels so good. It feels like Satan just left the building. Like, oh, yes.
Not nerve-wracking for you at all?
Oh, no. I love it. I love to put people in their place. Not at all. That's, I think that's why another reason why I like real estate is because I like to negotiate. I know that before I used to be a meanie to listing agents, and I used to be like, I need your seller to pay 3% of my client's closing costs, and they'd be like, what? That's unheard of. And I'm like, well, if you can't do it, this person will, and then they do it for me. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot, and now I'm seeing listing agents who are nasty to me, and 2 listing agents. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I show the house before it hits the market? And they reply kind of snarky, and they're like, excuse me, but we're not trying to get our license revoked because of you. And then I have to be like, calm down. And then I'd be like, and I get nasty right back. I'm like, wow, that was not what I was implying. I'm like, have some compassion. Market is low. Our clients are tired. Realtors are, and then they're like, hey, I'm sorry. Like both all listing agents have apologized to me. When I tell them how hard it is, they all apologize because they remember what it's like when, it's either a buyer's market or a seller's market. You have to understand, it's either buyer or seller. It used to be a buyer's market. I was like, hey. Now it's a seller's market. And I'm like, oh, please, I give you my dog and firstborn. Please, I give you my ovaries. And they're just like, nah, dude, that's not going to cut it.
Now, as I call housing for dummies, could you kind of explain what is a buyer's and a seller's market?
A buyer's market, and was when there's a lot of houses on the market, and when there's more buyers, when there's more, well, okay, put it like this: when there's more, God damn it, I'm thinking there's a perfect way to describe it, but basically, when there's more houses on the market, buyers can ask for more stuff. But when there's less houses on the market, sellers hold a lot more power. When there's less houses on the market, a seller is like, no, I'm not going to give you repairs. No, I'm not going to help you with closing costs. You're on your own with all that. And when it's a buyer's market, we can actually buy the house at list price or under list price. Many a time I would buy a house under list price. I would be like, we're taking $20,000 off. We're taking $15,000 off. Oh, if you're not going to repair, take another $10,000 off. That's a buyer's market, when buyers can ask for more. When it's a seller's market, it's when sellers get demanding and say, nah, we're not fixing. Like right now, you're not going to find a house with repairs. I mean, you can, like I said, there's that 30% that I told you about that you can find off market. But right now, the majority of sellers are not gonna repair the house for you. They're just not. Why? They've got 30 buyers.
And they're just, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So now, when we go back to you being a negotiator. Now, are you naturally a negotiator, or this is just something?
I'm naturally a fighter. So if I wasn't in real estate, I would have been a lawyer or an MMA fighter.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I definitely could see you as a lawyer. I didn't see MMA. I'm gonna trust you on that. I don't.
But it gives you thicker skin, but it also helps you communicate better. Because a lot of times what comes off as like I learned that before, when there was a problem, I used to be very reactive, and now I'm not so reactive. Now when anyone's upset, I give them an hour. I will not touch my phone for an hour. I will not answer them for an hour. I let things calm down within an hour, and then I'm able to communicate. I think real estate has really taught me how to communicate more effectively, because you never know when you need that listing agent or that buyer's agent or with that client. I remember I have clients that ignored me. And then one day they contact me like, oh, you're the best thing in the world. We want to work with you. And I'm like, what the hell? I thought you done ghosted me.
So I guess you learned not to take those things so personally.
Yeah, you cannot. Sometimes it's hard when there's friendships involved. Like I had a friend who I connected with right away. She gave a $750,000 deal to someone she knew for 5 years, and that kind of hurt me because I just thought we were closer than that. But then we remained friends. But then I started to stop sharing good stuff with her too. I got kind of petty. Because she wanted a lot of TV shows, and I knew about all these TV shows. I'm like, I ain't giving you shit. You didn't give me that deal. So sometimes it's hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes it's hard not to take it personal. But as far as things that happen during transactions, that I can tell you I don't take personal.
Okay. So now, would you suggest being a friend of yours, realtor, being a realtor for a friend or a family?
I would love that. Yeah, because I think I am the best. I think that even when it's like someone who's not family or friend, if I don't know, I'll say, hey, you know what? That's a good question. I'm not too sure about that. Let me contact the lawyer. Let me contact title. Let me contact the lender. I'm going to give you an answer within 1 hour. So I am my personality type, as much as an extrovert and as much as I love dancing.
Oh, yes.
I'm actually cautious and supportive. Those are my 2 traits that stand out when I do personality tests. So I'm actually very cautious. If it doesn't feel right, or I just won't put my client in that predicament, because there are realtors who will put you in anything just for their commission. And I find that so evil, and I find that so repulsive, that you will put a family in harm's way for $9,000 commission. I hope you get sued. I hope you get sued, because that's so dangerous. I mean, you're protecting them physically with the home inspection. Make sure that radon is a gas that you can't smell or touch, that can give cancer within a year, like severe cancer. There's home inspections. There's protection contingencies. Are they going to get the money back for the deposit, which is called earnest money? Earnest money is a deposit you make saying, I'm giving you in good faith that I want this house. Where if the deal falls apart, are they going to get that money back? I'm not going to. No, I'm protecting my client. You protect yours, but I'm going to protect my client.
Now, I want to get into Zillow, because some people like to sell their houses on Zillow. So I kind of wanted you to kind of elaborate. What do you offer as a seller that someone couldn't get necessarily when they sell in their house themselves on Zillow?
So I look at numbers. I'm always one for, if you can do better without me, please do. So I will even contact the Zillow representative myself and say, hey, I know you went out and checked out their property. What numbers do you have? Because remember, Zillow's going to give you a fee, and they're also going to give you a fee for repairs. So they're going to double fee you, whereas I'm going to be one fee. So I always say, look, let's see where you net more. My thing is, like, I'm going to show you my list seller report of how much you're going to net with or without repairs. And then I want you to look at Zillow's net sheet. Where are you getting the most money? Because you're getting rid of the house. Where are you going to get the most money? And if Zillow's going to offer you more money, kumbaya, go ahead, and I'll that's great. I won't be mad. But if I'm giving you more money, I think it's foolish for you not to give me 30 days. And you can give a realtor, look, I give you 60 days to do this for me. If you can't do it in 60 days, I'm going to give it to another broker, or I'm going to give it to Zillow. You can do that.
So you kind of use Zillow to your advantage.
I don't like to send it to Zillow, because I think in this market, 4 years ago I did. 4 years ago I did. Because I was like, I was also working with Gary Ashton, and he has a Zillow program. So it was like I was gonna make money either way. But I was not gonna list the home if they made more money through Zillow. So I was always like, where you make the most money, that's where you go. So right now, I really haven't, I'll be honest with you, Kevin, I haven't seen too many Zillow deals. I know they're out there, but because the market is so low on inventory, going directly to a listing agent is just, to me, it's just smarter, because we're going to guarantee you 40,000 over list price.
Okay. Now, I want to kind of touch on like the pandemic a bit, when everything kind of shut down. So how was business for you at that time?
During COVID, oh man, I made the most money I ever made. During COVID, I made the most money ever. It was about 6 months to a year after COVID. It was like fall of 2021 that I started to notice that all these houses that were up here were going down, 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 down. And so my clients had less to choose from. And when there's less to choose from, like for instance, Smyrna used to have 30 to 60 houses on the market, like under 350. Now Smyrna has 8 houses on the market. That's going to affect your business. And remember, everyone's a goddamn realtor. Remember, everyone is a goddamn realtor. So we're all trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? So when there were more houses, I didn't give a crap about, and I still don't really care about how many realtors there are, because I'm going to do what Alma's going to do. I know I'm working hard. I don't care what the next agent's doing, but it's hard for everyone. Even people who were, all top producers are being affected. Even listing agents are being affected, because there's no houses to list. So now our marketing efforts are now, instead of going to buyers, we all got a zillion buyers. Now we're trying to get houses. So we're contacting everybody. Hey, how would you like to list your home and get 50,000 over list? How would you like to list your home? How would you like to list your home? Now I'm going to sit on it. And the crazy part is I have some sellers who are like, nah, I'm going to sit on it and I'm going to sell it for $1 million. Okay, well, hold on now. You have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath at 1,100 square feet. You cannot sell it for more than 350. Okay. That 3 years from now, 6 years from now, that shit ain't gonna go to $1 million. It's gonna stay at 350. See, and the thing is that the listing agents do the same job as an appraiser. An appraiser, every bank will have an appraiser, and you cannot use the bank without an appraisal being done. So it's basically the bank saying, this is what I think your house is worth. Well, listing agents, which I am a listing and a buyer's agent, we do the exact same thing. We create reports that show you the distance, the radius, the comparable subjects, because you can tell me I want to list my house for $1 million, but if my numbers show you can only list it for 350, I'm not going to take. I will say I can't take you as a client because I'm not gonna. I know we're not gonna sell it for $1 million. It's a 3-bed, 1 bath for 1,100 square feet. It's not gonna sell for $1 million, buddy. I'm not gonna take you on. If that's your expectation, I'm gonna disappoint you.
All right. So I want to do like a little quick kind of home true or false thing for somebody who may not know about these certain things. So I guess you can say these are home buying myths. One, do you necessarily need 20% as a down payment?
Nope. That's false. False. There are different programs. For instance, on my second home, they always say 20% down for your second home. If you talk to a good realtor, they know good lenders. And my lender gave me 5% down on my second house.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Also, should you definitely get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage?
I would. Why not? Hell yeah. I would. I ain't trying to pay more. If you can pay it off sooner, there are most of the loans that I've seen are you can pay quicker without any penalties. Just make sure that at closing, the lawyer and the lender both say the same thing. You can try to pay it off sooner without there being any penalties. There are programs where if you try to pay it off sooner, they will penalize you.
Now, why would they penalize you for that?
That's how the program is set up. That's just how the lending I think that would be a good question for a lender. I don't have a clue, but there are actual programs that if you try to pay it off quicker, they can penalize you. Out of all the closings I've been at, I haven't had one that will penalize you, but I want you to be aware and ask your lender in case you do have one of those programs and you don't learn the hard way.
Yeah. True or false? You can't buy a home if you have substantial student loan debt.
I'm going to say false on that one. I am not a lender, but I have seen students, I have seen Vanderbilt students with that have been able to buy a home. I would say, yeah, I would say speak to your lender, because remember, if you come to me, the first thing I'm going to tell you is I want to work with you, but you need to, if you don't have 600,000 in cash, I need you to speak to a lender. You either have the cash or a loan. So I will send you to a lender and say, hey, I would love to show you a home, but I'm not going to waste my time showing you a home unless you're pre-approved. Most realtors are going to tell you that.
True or false? The down payment is the only money you'll need at closing.
That's false. That's false. You will pay whatever you owe your lender, if you use a lender, 3.5, 5%, whatever you put down, plus if your realtor has transaction fees, that's nothing. That's like 500. Plus your home inspection, which is another 500. Plus, what's your earnest money? How much money are you putting down? But that actually goes back to you, because the deposit you make on the house goes back to your closing costs. Bam. So, okay, let's go back. The 3 top down payments, the down payment you owe your bank, and 3% closing costs. Back in the day, 5 years ago, the seller used to pay your closing costs. They used to pay half of it or all of it or none of it. Right now, sellers are not paying any of it because they don't have to. There's so many offers that say, I'll pay closing costs. Don't worry about closing costs. I'll pay. And a closing cost for a house will never, ever, ever be more than 3%. So remember, it's a 6.5% if you do an FHA loan. If you do an FHA loan, 3.5 for the lender, 3% closing costs. If you use a conventional loan, let's just say 5% down for the conventional loan, 3% down closing costs. That's 8%. So do the math. 320 times 8. 320 times 6.5.
Last one. True or false? You should only apply to one mortgage lender.
Damn, Kevin, you brought it. You brought the heat. I would say if you can fall in love with the right lender the first time, like I love Tower Community Mortgage. I use Ludi and Will Norvat at Tower Community Mortgage. I love them. I know they are guaranteed close. I would just stick with one. If you want to have a second opinion, by all means, you have every right to seek a second and third opinion. Careful with the third one, though. It may start affecting your credit. You don't want to go past 2. You do not want to go past 2. It will start affecting your credit. All those checks will just start racking it up.
So like after 3 is
After
you start
after
to-
2, just
2.
stop.
Oh,
Yeah, I would stop at. I mean, personally speaking, like if I were talking to a client or myself, I wouldn't go past 2. I'd probably go with Tower Community or Chase Morgan Chase. That's it. I don't think I'd go to any other banks. I mean, you need to have good customer service and low interest rates. Good customer service and low interest rates. And I didn't really care for good customer service until I started doing this.
when you happen to be around, having to deal with them all.
I'm like, yo, I need you to answer my questions like today, not next month.
Oh, Lord. So as we wrap this up, I just want you to just basically say, why do you love what you do?
Why do I love what I do? It really is about caring for people. And I really want people to understand that I protect my clients like I protect family. And I wish more realtors were like that. I'm in the people business. And so I love making connections. There are a lot of realtors that are money hungry. And I would say if something does not feel right, just end it. Just end it. If there's something in your gut, there's an intuition saying, I think this person is a little bit money hungry and they don't have my best interest, just walk away. Because I treat my clients like I treat my family. If I wouldn't put my own mother or grandmother in that situation, why would I put my client in that situation over a check? How do you sleep at night? I've actually asked one realtor in my whole career, how do you sleep at night? He said, don't work with Latinos, work with Caucasians. They have more money. And this was coming from a Latino himself. And I asked him, like, how do you sleep at night? So our Latinos, by the way, Latino millennials are the fastest buying buyers. They're the fastest buying buyers in today's market. How do you sleep at night not wanting everyone to be a homeowner? I wish everyone was a homeowner. That's why I like it. It's people business and they're making connections that I have clients that are like family, that will always be a part of my life.
And that is the conclusion of another episode of Talking Business with Kevin Mumphrey. Until next time, stay blessed.